You ever wake up and feel like you're already behind? Like there's this invisible checklist you're supposed to be following? Wake up early, meditate, meal prep, chase your dreams, and you're just sitting there wondering if brushing your teeth counts as a win. Yeah, I've been there. Most of the quote-unquote perfect routines out there, they're built for robots or influencers. I'm not either. I just needed something that made me feel like I wasn't losing to the same day over and over again. This is the routine that helped me do that. And let me preface this by saying, this isn't the end-all be-all perfect routine. And it's not aesthetic, and it sure as hell ain't sponsored by a productivity app. It's just a day-to-day structure that helped me stop feeling like a Magikarp getting slapped around by life and start feeling like I was actually gaining EXP. So if your 20s feel like a confusing open-world game with no objective markers, welcome. You're not lost. You're just in the tall grass. I want to start with a realistic weekday routine for when you have a 9 to 5. And let's start in the morning. And here's the deal. How you start your day sets the tone for everything else. So before I check Instagram Reels, YouTube, or any other digital dopamine dispensary, I get up and I move. I walk or I go to the gym. That's it. Nothing flashy, just a small physical win that reminds my brain we're here to live, not scroll. And the second rule in the morning is I limit my phone exposure like it's radioactive, because flooding your brain with dopamine first thing is the fastest way to stay addicted all day. Most days I win the morning by avoiding the trap of starting reactive, but I also get caught into the trap sometimes. Having a daily routine is not about being perfect. It's about creating guidelines as what you want to be doing most of the time. Then we get to the daytime block. And let's be real, most people they either study or work. And work that might be a 9 to 5, that might be a freelance grind, or just a hybrid chaotic mix of both. So the middle chunk during the weekdays, that's dedicated to paying the bills. And during this time, it's not about reinventing the wheel, it's about doing what's necessary, what you're paid for, or what your clients want if you have your own business, or studying for your exams if you're still a student. And you want to be doing it well enough to keep the lights on without burning yourself out. I try to show up with focus, take the proper breaks, and not pretend I'm above all the boring things I need to get done. Because real life does include spreadsheets, Teams notifications, and client interactions. The trick is not letting it overwhelm you and letting it become your entire personality. Then we get towards the evening, and honestly, the commute home, end of work period, it's really underrated because it's a bridge. That is your decompression zone. I will use this time to reset my mental state. I will try to avoid doom scrolling. I'll try to avoid getting too caught up in emails. Sometimes it's just music or a podcast, and other times I prefer just sitting in silence and letting my brain catch up. And when we get to the evening, from around 5 to 6:30 p.m, I'll make and eat dinner, usually something relatively simple. Then comes the important window during the day where I chase the XP that actually moves me forward. I give myself 60 to 90 minutes of pure, focused effort on my things. Not some company I'm working for, this is my project. Right now, as I'm recording this, it's almost 8 p.m. and I've been recording videos since 6:30 p.m. today. So this has been my slot to record videos. And other things I could be doing here could be writing, could be scripting, could be editing. The important thing here is this time belongs to me. It's where I remind myself that I'm building something great for myself. And then we get to nighttime. And nighttime used to be when I sabotaged everything. Now it's my save point. So no more grinding up until 10 p.m. What really works for me here is taking a warm shower followed by a cold to reset the body. Then a few pages of reading, some light journaling, some Wim Hof breathwork as I'm lying in bed, and honestly, at this point, during the nighttime routine, I'll often fall asleep mid-round. And then what I also try to do is I'm aiming for a 9 p.m. bedtime. Sometime it does stretch closer to 10, but the ideal is lights out by 9 on weekdays, so I can be up by around 5:30. So my nighttime routine is all about protecting tomorrow's energy. Then when we get to the weekend, or an off day, I run a completely different routine. And here we're assuming, for this quote-unquote perfect schedule, that there's no obligatory work, so we can structure everything exactly how we want. What is similar to the weekday routine is I still prioritize movement first thing in the morning, whether it be walk or gym or a morning run. But then what I do, instead of going to work or meeting with a client, I sit down and then I immediately tackle the hardest and most meaningful task. I call it the daily highlight. That one thing that if I complete it, makes the whole day feel like a win. Usually it's business or content work. Sometimes it can be something else that really matters. I just do that first thing when my energy is high and before my distractions multiply. Then as we approach midday, I aim for 2 to 3 focus sessions at about 60 to 90 minutes each. And I try to eliminate distractions as best as I can. I also, in between, eat some food, go outside, stretch a little, in order to make it sustainable. And these are definitely the days where I get the most creative work done, and that's also because I allow myself that space. I make the space for more creative work. As we approach later during the day, my energy drops slightly, and this is where I might knock out some important and not urgent tasks. If you're familiar with the Eisenhower matrix, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about here. And that might be errands I need to run, emails, scheduling. It can be very different tasks that I end up doing here. And if there's space for it, I might also try to slot in some social experience. It can be a quick meetup with a friend or something that's just low pressure, which keeps me connected. And that's more or less it. I want to just remind you that this is the ideal structure. But one important caveat here is I don't schedule time with my girlfriend into a Google Calendar block like I would with these other things. Meaning that this plan I just laid out for you is for me a very spontaneous plan. Since we do hang out a couple of times a week, sometimes it does replace my evening work block. And same goes for other events in life, like friends visiting, weddings, events, and some days where I might just feel a little burned out and I just want to take a long ride on my motorcycles. These aren't exceptions, these are just a part of the game. Because I think one of the biggest mistakes you can make with these on paper perfect daily routines is that they're too rigid. It's supposed to be a flexible framework, not something you follow to a T every single day. Because life will throw 500 pounds of shit in your face occasionally, and then you need to be adaptable. So you don't really need a perfect routine, you just need one that fits your actual life. Whether you're grinding 9 to 5 or navigating open space, your routine should be built like a team. It's flexible, balanced, and built for your XP goals, not someone else's badge collection. So if you're still evolving, hit the subscribe button. And if you're still trying to figure it out, that's good. It means you're still playing the game. Drop a comment with one move that's made the biggest difference in your daily routine. And see you in the next battle.